So often that relationships that begin with a lot of passion and heat, where there's a lot of chemistry, and they don't move beyond that to really encompass your whole being, your intellect and your feelings as well as your sexual chemistry, those tend to fizzle because that chemistry, as we know, tends to fall off pretty quickly if you don't do something to rekindle it. And the best thing we found to rekindle that.
Well, the number one thing is to tell the truth all the time about exactly where you are. But see, the problem a lot of times is that that big heat invites up from your unconscious the big pattern that needs to be healed in order for you to live in the grip of passion all the time. And so it's possible to have a very passionate time 24 hours a day. But what usually happens is that passion brings stuff up. Let's say it brings up my issue of not feeling like I'm fundamentally okay as a human being. Let's say I've got some fear that I'm fundamentally flawed as a human being. So then I get into relationship and the passion has brought up that issue. So next time we're at a party together, I say something like, "Oh, you sure were spending a lot of time chatting with Frank over there tonight." You know, I do something like out of that feeling of not being valued, I attack the other person. And so that's what happens in the second phase of a relationship. The first phase is that whoosh, of romance and passion, but we call the second phase the inevitable, because inevitably that's going to bring up some old shadow parts of you that need to be brought up into the light in order to be loved and purified and talked about and that kind of thing. But usually what happens is when that comes up, we blame the other person. We say, "You're the reason I'm so miserable right now," rather than saying, "I'm sure creating a lot of misery for myself right now. Where's that coming from?" It's so easy to blame the other person, because usually you can get a good argument going and they'll blame you back and it creates a lot of adrenaline. And, unless you've learned to enjoy the more subtle elixir of love, adrenaline feels pretty good sometimes.
So really a lot of our work is about what we call the choice point, is what do you do when that comes up where it looks like it's your partner's fault or you made a terrible mistake. And in that place, learning how to take healthy responsibility, learning how to say something that's unarguable, how to reveal. And then what you get to do, if you make that choice over and over again, you get to rekindle romance.